A lie isn't simply something that you don't want to agree with. A lie is a false statement presented as true, or a truth misrepresented to appear false with a deliberate attempt to deceive. That describes almost the entirety of creationist apologetics, but I don't see how that...
So I looked up the definition of a lie. AronRa is right in defining a lie in these two ways. However, he gets more specific on his own standards of calling someone a liar in his final challenge.
So to the other challenges I've already laid on, add this. Find any statement the scientist actually made, quoted verbatim, that you think is a lie. Show how the statement is wrong, and more importantly, show how the scientist who said it knew it was wrong before he said it. See, I wouldn't accuse anyone of lying before I could do at least that, but then I was raised by the sort of people who believe men should have a code of honor.
So AronRa expects Gareb to show deceitful intent to prove the scientists are lying. He even says it's the most important part of the challenge. I mean, it's the least he would do, right?
A lie isn't simply something that you don't want to agree with. A lie is a false statement presented as true, or a truth misrepresented to appear false with a deliberate attempt to deceive. That describes almost the entirety of creationist apologetics, but I don't see how that...
When I heard this, I wondered how he could come up with such a conclusion. I guess it couldn't be possible they actually believed what they said. So I asked AronRa to fulfill his own challenge and show how he knew the intent behind almost all of creation apologetics was to deceive. Now he responded by saying, "Show me any argument any creationist ever made, and I'll show you how to prove that whoever it is knew it was wrong before he claimed it was true." I then gave Aron the option of irreducible complexity, and he responded in this way, and I'm paraphrasing. Behe testified that there were no scientific explanations ever published to explain how the immune system evolved. And then the attorney proceeds to stack these books and peer-reviewed scientific papers in front of him to prove otherwise. Aron then goes on to say that Behe, and this is in quotes, says they weren't good enough. Now, this is just simply untrue, and I'm going to prove that. So here are the accusations. 1. Behe testified that there were no scientific explanations ever published to explain the evolution of the immune system. 2. He dismissed the works presented in court, saying they weren't good enough. Okay, let's start with number 1. Now, to prove this false, all one has to do is go to the court transcripts and read it for themselves. Now, Behe was asked in court if this statement in his book was correct, and this is the statement here. We can look high or we can look low in books and journals, but the result is the same. The scientific literature has no answers to the question of the origin of the immune system. Now, Behe clarified, of course, saying this. In the context, that means the scientific literature has no detailed, testable answers to the question of how the immune system could have arisen by random mutation and natural selection. I believe you when you say it wasn't a direct quote, so I apologize for the accusation of quote mining. However, the record clearly shows that even in a more broad understanding of Behe's testimony, it's impossible to glean such a position, and even more audacious to say it is the whole context. Behe was very specific and never claimed in his testimony that no scientific explanations exist, but that no detailed testable answers exist. Remember, I'm not arguing for creation right now, but rather against the claim that creationists in general are liars. So even if Behe was wrong in his specific claim, how can you prove he didn't believe it, that he intended to deceive? Now to number 2. Now once again, the court transcripts speak for themselves. On at least 2 occasions, he was asked if other works were, quote, not good enough, unquote. And he replied to both, but never said anything like, they are not good enough. The first time he said, quote, they're wonderful articles. They're very interesting. They simply just don't address the question that I posed, unquote. The second occasion,
the one in question, he replies, quote, "These articles are excellent articles, I assume. However, they do not address the question that I am posing. So it's not that they aren't good enough, it's simply that they are addressed to a different subject." Unquote. Aron also went on to say that the only honest answer Behe could have given was to say he hadn't read them and therefore could not have known if they met the criteria or not. How do you know he never read any of them? Are you still chasing that old straw man? Well, once again, let's look at the record. A number of articles were presented, and Behe was asked if there are more articles on the evolution of the vertebrate immune system. He replied, quote, "There are many articles," unquote. Wait. What was that you said earlier? Oh yeah, you keep saying he says they don't exist, even when they're in front of him. But I know where this straw man was created, this "it's not good enough" line. It came from the judge's decision that was a 90% replica of the ACLU's Findings of Fact and Conclusions of Law submitted to Judge Jones nearly a month before his ruling. Now it is permitted for judges to copy portions of this document to their decision that they agree with. So did the Honorable Judge agree that Behe testified in this way? Yep. The ACLU spoon-fed him the words, and he swallowed without looking. Clearly, the record got little attention from the judge or you. I know, the pains of research, right? As for the claims of the Discovery Institute's wedge document, be more specific and use your own logic. Show the statements from the document, verbatim, which show what you claim. Just to help you remember, those claims are: 1. The Discovery Institute wishes to overthrow and undermine science. 2. The wedge document agenda creates the impression that one cannot accept evolution and still be a Christian. Another thing is, when did I say Christians can't be evolutionists? I can show many quotes of evolutionists' presuppositions to back up my claim. Yet you accuse me of lying still without first showing how it's wrong, and second, show how I
knew it was wrong before he said it.
You say it's important to you that your arguments be honest and accurate, but you have failed miserably. My conclusion is that you're not a liar. No, you actually believe your own garbage.
See, I wouldn't accuse anyone of lying before I could do at least that, but then I was raised by the sort of people who believe men should have a code of honor.
No, you're just a hypocrite.